welcome. I'm back. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what, man. The last few days has kicked my butt. I've been sick with a cold, sinuses, something. I don't know. I've got about 3 or 4 days of Claritin in my system. Even still today, it's not as bad as it was yesterday or the day before, but runny nose, watery eyes, burning eyes, dry throat, scratchy throat, slight headache, even upset stomach. My stomach kind of had a little ache in it. You know, everything for COVID, minus the fever. But anyway, I already had COVID, so I don't think it's that. But anyway, I am feeling much better. Anyway, I started this video 2 days ago, so before we get going on what I'm gonna talk about, let's go check that out. What's going on, guys? Oh, just look at that. You just never know where I'm going to be. Now, this road right here, there's plenty of room on it. Oh man, I got unloaded this morning. I got up a little early. We got offloaded, and when I came out of that, they offloaded me probably in about 45 minutes to an hour. I was in Verona, Missouri, and I had to go down to Branson, Missouri, and there's no big highways, divided lane highways to get you there. There is, oh, look at this chicken truck. There used to be my setup right there. A Mack truck pulling a feed wagon. That's my favorite job ever. Loved it. Anyway, there was no divided highways. There was no big roads. There was nothing like I'm on now. And I reached down to grab my camera to start this video for today and editing the stuff yesterday. I left my camera on. The GoPro died. Speaking of GoPros, I got another GoPro. I got a new GoPro 10 Black. And well, I didn't do research before I got it, and I didn't get a media box with it. That way, it's a little cradle. It's got a hot shoe for the mic. It's got the adapter plug-in, or the plug-in for the adapter. But I can still use it right now with my external mic, but I'm gonna have to do something with my battery door. It don't make sense. Anyway, I got to get the media box before I can use the new GoPro. I figured this one's about, you know, the shelf life's about up. I've noticed whenever I've got the video facing on me, it's kind of grainy. It's not all that great. So I don't know if the software is just starting to fail or what. But nonetheless, I got a new one. But anyway, back to the story. I reached down to grab the camera, set it up on the hood just like it is now, and hit play, and it turned on for about 3 seconds and went beep, 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 turned right back off. I was like, you son of a gun. Now, if you know the route from Verona, Missouri, down to Branson, you know it's all in the mountains. And it's not like this, I'm in the mountains now, it's not just hilly. You're riding on top of the mountains, looking down at other mountains. And it was the perfect switchbacks for a motorcycle. All I thought about was, man, if I had a motorcycle, I'd be having so much fun right now. But I also had fun in my big truck. Luckily, I was empty, and I had a local boy behind me pulling a dump wagon, and he had some weight in his because a couple times we had to make turns and stop and goes and stuff. I'd take off and leave him, but he was riding my butt the whole time. We was talking on the radio, having a good old time. I told him, I said, man, I'm sorry for holding you up, brother. This is my first time through here, and I'm empty. He said, no, man, I tell you, you've been driving a while. You know how to take these turns. And I was like, well, I cut my teeth driving in the mountains when I got my CDL. Done that for years and years and years. Hold on, I guess somebody calling me? No, somebody from the Oak. He said, nah, man, you doing fine, driver. He said, I know this road like the back of my hand. And I said, well, it's my first time. And anyway, it's a good old time. And it's scenic. It was beautiful, snow on the ground. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's a lot different than the road I'm on now. And all I can think of is come trucking with me. You never know where we're going to go. And well, now we picked up that load in Branson. We're heading down to Texas, going down to Houston area. And I've already, like I said yesterday, man, I already got another load. It's paying real good to go home. And goodness, this hill's pretty steep. a box. This is like Miller. Oh, no, Miller. It's probably distorting the mind. Alright guys, I just want to come to you for a minute now, and we'll get back to what I was going to talk about in the beginning of the video. I will talk about these damn YouTubers. Well, today I think I'm just going to talk about one. I might throw two in there. I've got a lot I want to talk about as far as YouTubers, but I believe I'll stretch them out. So yeah, like I was saying, you never really know where you're going to go with me. Right now, I'm down in Tejas, in Texas, going to pick up a load, going back home. And man, oh man, do I got the things to share with you, but I'm not going to share them all. I'm going to share one. And this is kind of funny. See, a lot of you guys know that I was down at Haggai last week. Justin, Just Trucking, was down there doing an in-frame on the engine. And if you hadn't checked that out, I will link it in the top section of the comments. Hands down, the best information on doing an in-frame on one of these Cummins ISXs. I think it was 10 videos. But he's got our lovely Allison with him in a lot of the videos, telling about what this part does and what that part does. And it's, like I said, hands down the best videos I've seen on rebuilding an engine on these ISXs. Great series. So yeah, I will link that, I will pin it as the top comment. But don't go watch it yet, because I ain't done. I ain't even got to the good stuff, the juicy stuff. So Allison called me and said, hey, Justin's coming down. This was last week. Justin's coming down to rebuild his engine. Won't you come down? So I was like, cool, I need something done on my truck anyway. Can you fit me in? They fit me in. Long story short, I went down there, hung out for 2 days, and then I found out Justin was there the week before, and Allison was telling me, she's like, I told Justin, I don't like the way this engine's sounding. Something ain't right. I don't like it. And Justin's like, no, it's been sounding like that. Anyway, Justin went home. A week later, he's at the shop rebuilding the engine because his piston, shit, I don't even remember exactly what it was. You'll find out in the video. But it's like, it's funny, I was here a week ago and I'm back. Well, that's where it gets juicy for me. I was down there last week replacing a wheel seal and bearing on the drive. Last week. And fast forward a week later, I gotta go back. Your boys have truck problems. Your boys have real bad truck problems. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm probably gonna repeat this stuff in another video because I'm gonna make a separate video for this. But I've been driving these damn trucks for 21 years. And I've never had a clutch go out until I bought this truck. Yeah, this truck. That was a few years ago. When that happened, I called down there at Haggai, I talked to Jerry, and Jerry told me, he said, what I want you to do is get going down there. He said, can you get it in gear? Can you start driving it? And I was like, yes. And oh, by the way, I just finished my load. I'm empty, so I don't have no weight in the wagon. He said, if you can get rolling up on highway speed, he said, get going down the road and mash your clutch in and see what your RPMs are doing. And if your RPMs don't drop, with your clutch engaged, with it in gear, while you're rolling down the road, he said, now this is dangerous. This is dangerous. You could risk putting a hole in the side of your bell housing. I think it's bell housing. Anyway, but it can save you. He said, what happens is the springs in these clutches get bad. Whoa there, tire. The springs in the clutches get bad, and they can wedge themselves in between the clutch and the firewheel, or the flywheel housing. He said, and if it's wedged in there, he said sometimes whenever you can push the clutch in and hit the throttle, you can spin your flywheel and sling it out. He said, if you're lucky, it slings it out and it falls to the bottom of the belt or flywheel housing. If you're unlucky, you put a hole in it. It just depends. So I was like, all right, worth the risk, let's do it. And it didn't have no help. It didn't help me none. I still had to go home with no clutch. Luckily, I was in West Virginia. I made it all the way home with no clutch. And I mean, there's tricks around it, and I touch on it in the dedicated video about this. But this is what happened again 2 days ago. No, yesterday, my bad. I was 30 miles from my delivery. I stopped and filled up, went in, grabbed a shower, and something to eat. I was in Hillsboro, Texas at the TA. Love that TA. They just need to get the pride going again. The diner is still shut down. Anyway, nonetheless, I get back out to the truck. I crank the truck up, put all my stuff away. I go hit the clutch to put it in gear and go, and I mash in the clutch, and it was like, it's like, oh shit, this ain't good. So I play back and forth on the clutch a time or two, and still nothing. I was like, all right, well, I've got to get this truck rolling. I've got a delivery to go get. Even if I have to work around no clutch, I'm going to get this thing offloaded. So I played with it for a few minutes, and then I couldn't get it to the synchronizers to slow down enough. And anyway, I was like, all right, this ain't working. So I cut the truck off. I put it in low gear, and I turned the key back on, let it go through its cycle, and I pushed the clutch in, and I thought, well, here's nothing. I went to cranking it, and it skipped just a little bit and almost engaged the clutch. And then it started pulling, so I held on for the ride, and here we go. I had my foot ready on the throttle. As soon as that sucker fired up, we took off rolling. And that's how you get going in one of these trucks if your clutch goes out. Turn the truck off, put it in gear, low gear, and when you turn that ignition, be ready to go, because your starter's going to pull that truck. And mind you, I had almost 44,000 pounds in the box, and that still got me started. Anyway, I couldn't remember what Jerry had told me a few years ago. I got going down the road. I kicked it out of gear, revved it up a couple times, pushed the clutch in, still nothing. I couldn't remember exactly the process. So I called Allison down there. Allison was tied up. She didn't take the call. I immediately called Jerry, and Jerry's like, all right, you going down the road? I'm like, yeah. He said, push in the clutch, leave it in gear, push in the clutch. What's your RPMs doing? I said, they're staying on 1500. He said, okay, rev it up a little bit, just tap it a little bit. See if you can get those RPMs to spin around 16, 17, 1800. And then I realized that's what he told me years ago. And I done it. He said, and he started to say, what's the RPMs doing now? And those RPMs, after I hit it twice, RPMs went, pew, fell to 7. I said, all right, we slung it loose. So that's not fixed. That don't mean my truck's fixed. That still means I need a clutch. But what had happened is one of the springs in my clutch broke and wedged itself in between the clutch and the flywheel housing. And luckily, I'm going to pick up this load, Conroe, Texas, 5,000 pound load of cans going back home. So that's good. Last time this happened, I did hit it because I didn't want no weight in the trailer. But this way, I'm going to pick up this load. I'm going to get my butt back home, and we're going to the shop to fix the truck. So, just like Justin, he was there a week. He was there, and then the next week he had to come back and rebuild the engine. I was there last week, and now I got to go back and to put a clutch in the truck. Oh man, really? But you know, speaking of YouTubers, man, I got one I'm gonna give a shout out to, and you got to really go check this guy out. Hands down, he is the best of the best, the best of what he does. The guy's, I'm gonna be a little honest with you. If you're thin-skinned, easily offended, don't go check him out, because he's a little raw. He will get in your feelings. But one thing he does is he keeps a show going. Entertainment show, of course. He keeps it going without a dull moment. He is very good at what he does. He's the best. And I've watched him for quite a while now, and he's one of my go-tos if I'm trucking. I've got a handful of YouTube truckers that I go to when I'm rolling down the road and I'm bored and I don't have anything to do. He's one of them. And another one, let's save that video. I put another shout out here in a few weeks. But yeah, go check this guy out. His name is The Other Trucker James Best. I will link his, I'm gonna have a lot of linked videos and stuff in the description, I guess. But no, I will share his, I'll put his channel on the page. So at the end of the video, you can go check him out. But man, you want to talk about funny? Like I said, if you're sensitive, or you're easily offended by language or sexual innuendos or sexual talk or anything raw. I mean, let's just talk about locker room banter, just the raw stuff. If that don't offend you, I promise you're gonna be laughing. And the best thing about Mr. Best is he goes live and he goes back and forth with the commenters, and he don't do it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. This cat will go all day, and he always keeps a room full of people bringing new I guess you could say entertainment to the channel of what they're talking about. Think of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does a podcast. He has people on. They talk. They have a good time. So that's what Mr. Best does. So I'm a big fan. I'm always checking him out and in there laughing my ass off. Anyway, the wife watches it. She's always laughing her ass off. Anyway, just go check him out, man. Go check him out. I'm gonna keep babying this truck, and we're gonna get home with a spent clutch. I think she's spent. I'm still good now. I can use the clutch, but I'm becoming a master of not using my clutch. And I've been lucky, and I ain't touched my clutch coming through the back roads and highways of Texas. I ain't touched my clutch in the last 100 miles. So, and also Jerry told me, I asked him, I said, what can I do to ensure to not mess my clutch up, break another spring? What can I do? He said, take off in the lowest gear possible, keep the strain off the clutch, and when you get going, when you're up to highway speed, he said, kick it out of gear. He said, press your clutch in and let it out. He said, what you're going to do there is you're going to relieve some tension on those springs. He said, because here's why those springs get weak and they break. He said, we use the clutch once to take off. He said, it puts a lot of tension on those springs. Those springs are about that long. He said, and then you get on the interstate and you drive 4, 5, 6, 8 hours, and that tension is still on that spring. He said, but when you get up to highway speed, you kick it out of gear like this right here, press your clutch in, hit your throttle, bring it back up to speed, hit your throttle, and what you're doing when you do that is you're relieving the pressure off those springs. He said, so while you're coming home, try to use your clutch as least as possible. I've even been parking on declines. That way, whenever I get ready to go, I can turn the truck on, get rolling, and pop it in the second gear and just keep on rolling. So that's what I've been doing. I'm gonna go home, get this thing fixed, and I still can't believe 21 years driving trucks, a lot of different trucks. I've never had a clutch go out until I bought this truck, and that was a few years ago. Only to have to put another one in a few years later. That don't make sense, guys. I think the shop didn't know what the hell they was doing. They put it in last time, and when I did not go to Jerry. I should have went to Haggai, but I was home. What the hell? It's a big old fire over there. I should have went down there, but I done it at home while I was at my local shop. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good on the truck. I don't understand. Anyways, guys, if you're still around, if you're not subscribed, give me a big old subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And until that next video, guys, see you. Bye. Let me show you what's going on over here.